Should Africans stay and develop their countries or move abroad for a better life? Let's find out. I was scrolling on Twitter like I usually do, and I came across a quote by our dear Janet Museveni, that is the wife of the president, who is also the minister for education in Uganda. And she was saying, "Don't be tempted to leave Uganda to spend your early years of strength and productivity developing other countries at the expense of your country. These countries we admire and would give anything to live in were built by their citizens through years of hard work and sacrifice. Our own homeland deserves no less determination." That right there is from the president. Now, when I saw this, I looked at it and said, you know what? Brings the question, like I'd mentioned before, should Africans stay and develop their countries or move abroad for a better life? Now, there's a famous quote called Japa, which is used by West Africans, or Nigerians to be specific, and they usually use that to mean like someone who has gone abroad for a better life or for studies and stayed there and made something for themselves. Now, when we look at Uganda, the labor exploitation that we have here is mainly like young girls who go to the UAE to like become maids and, you know, hopefully send money back home to better the lives of the family, right? The other thing that came to my mind was the brain drain and brain gain that happens in most developing countries. I think especially for like third world countries, where a lot of people actually make it their goal to relocate or go abroad and do something for themselves. I'll be specific with Uganda. Like I mentioned before, the main export that we have is actually labor. I know it's other food crops, but the main thing that we see happening often or happening again and again is that we see these young girls who are lined up, dressed up in a uniform, being taken abroad for cleaning jobs, you know, for security jobs and so on and so forth. So that's the one thing that we keep saying. But then there's also another part of the brain drain where we see professionals in their own right, you know, experts in their own right, specialists also like moving abroad to, you know, to take their expertise to the developing countries and then leave their countries with some sort of a gap that needs to be filled by its people or by its government. So while the Minister of Education for Uganda is encouraging people not to leave, let's look at some of the reasons why people are actually leaving. You know, there's always a reason to something. So let's explore that before we jump in.
Brain drain has a mixed impact in Kenya. On the one hand, it takes highly skilled workers outside the country. On the other hand, they send large amounts of money back home. In 2022, remittances from Kenyans living abroad became the largest source of foreign exchange, amounting to $4.3 billion. Kenya's president announced that he hopes to double this number and export even more Kenyan workers. Kenyan data shows that migration increases with the level of education. Healthcare workers are some of the main professionals leaving Kenya for better jobs or further education. In fact, Kenyan healthcare workers went to the streets complaining about the lack of good and stable jobs, even though hospitals here are understaffed.
In 2022, Ghana's youth unemployment rate stood at 7.14%. Now, millions of young Ghanaians are constantly searching for new jobs. Many of them, sadly, including those with essential skills, only see themselves doing better outside Ghana.
When you stay at one place, it's like you are killing your career. But then once you take that very bold step, moving from your comfort zone and then stepping out, looking at the country like Germany, it's a place for the future.
Well, what excites me about the career opportunity is that at least you get to learn different views from other people. You get to learn new ideas, new technology, new languages and all that.
The key destination has been Europe and the Americas. In fact, Germany is second only to the United Kingdom as top destinations for the Ghanaian diaspora populations. Now, Ghana is also one of the countries the EU has constantly targeted with its migration reforms that focus on skilled labor. A migration center that offers counseling to young people seeking to travel has also been operational for some time now.
But our key focus now is providing advisory services for Ghanaians who have the expertise and are willing to work abroad.
With Ghana still struggling economically and not being able to create opportunities for many young people, migrating outside has become a necessity rather than a luxury for millions, including professionals.
In Uganda, the problem of brain drain exists. But because of poor documentation, it's hard to appreciate the real impact of this problem. Many try and seek employment outside the country, mainly because of unemployment here and poor pay. But also traveling outside Uganda is not an easy attempt, mainly because of visa and travel restrictions. But the few who are lucky to find jobs outside Uganda, when they leave, some don't even want to come back.
So you've had it right there. The lady was in Kenya, the other gentleman is Ghana, and then there was one in Uganda. I like that it was actually downtown Uganda, so you guys can see the chaos, because sometimes we come here and say something and then you're like, yeah, we're biased. But yeah, let that give you a picture of what happens downtown. Downtown is not water. Like, literally, you're fighting for your life when you're down there. On the other hand, is it so bad that people get to leave if they can go wherever it is that they're going to, like, come back with what they've learned and build their country? Because if you think about it, if someone goes, to Europe and, they see the systems, they see how the transportation system works, it's smooth, it's easy, it's advanced, they're seeing so many other things, In my head, I'm thinking, if you're abroad and you're seeing all that, then you'd like to come back home and implement what it is you're seeing. That's why I have an issue with, like, most politicians, because they do get to travel. By the way, they have all these expense paid trips, and when they do travel, they're able to see how other countries are operating seamlessly and operating on good governance, right? I want to think so. So it surprises me that a politician can be exposed to all that and then come back to their country and just move about like nothing has happened. Like, you're enjoying these potholes. Are you enjoying these potholes after you went through a metro that was like seamless? After you went on a road that you didn't even see one pothole anywhere? Like, you can't even implement that. You can look at it and you can look at this, in two ways. You can see that there's brain drain, but you can also see that there's brain gain. Like, the people who have left the third world countries to go abroad have learned something, so they're coming back to the motherland with all this expertise and what they've learned, and they're building their country. There's a company that I've worked with, it's called Credo. Shout out to them, by the way. If you're looking to study abroad, this is the company that you need to use. I think it's dropping on the screen here. And I had some people in the comment section asking me, why are you talking about this company, like, or you encouraging people to leave? But I looked at it at a different angle. I looked at it as, hey, if you can get a scholarship, if you can go and study abroad, then after some time come back to your country and implement everything you've studied, I think that's a win for us, right? It's a win for my country when people come in with all this knowledge and expertise. I don't want us to stay stuck and have a narrow mind and think we know everything. Guys, we don't know everything, because if we knew everything, we'd be very far in life, would be so developed. We don't. So the reason for our underdevelopment can be changed. And yes, some people may have to go abroad and learn a few things and then come back and implement that. Nothing is wrong with that. Listen, I encourage it. It's like you going to school and then coming back home and, doing something better for your locals, for your natives. What's wrong with that? Watch this clip.
A 2013 United Nations report found that 1 in 9 Africans with a tertiary education were living and working outside of their countries, many choosing to travel and work in developed nations in North America and in Europe. But as numbers of African migrants to the global north continue to grow, we also see a reverse of that, where young Africans are moving back to the continent, attracted by the various opportunities of a continent that many see as being on the rise. And some of the factors that explain this increase of young people returning to the continent is that many countries around the continent are becoming politically stable. Societies are also enjoying a better standard of living. But most importantly, there is a greater access to technology, a factor that is behind the thousands of young people educated in the West moving back to Africa to look.
So we've seen the clip right there, and honestly, I wouldn't have said it any better. Like, if you can go out there and learn the skills that you can learn and then come and implement them back home, by all means do that. Like, I'm all for brain gain. Go out there and learn everything that you can. Now, that statement made by the Minister of Education can bring up a few concerns, but I do have a few concerns that I want to voice to you guys. And the other concern that comes to my mind is that let's say, fine, the government wants people to say, well, that's well and good, but the same government also owes its people, like a functioning system, a functioning society, and infrastructure that can make sure they get them to stay. It's like, if I'm enticing you to stay in said country, I think I would give you some incentives to, like, here's something, here's a cookie. If you eat this cookie, then you grow, or something like that. Like, if it's a plant and you water it, then it's gonna blossom and grow where it is. But if there are all these systems in place that don't benefit the society or don't benefit the individuals that want them to stay, then what are they staying for? So, because it's like, okay, you want your people to stay, then how about the system is better, like, how about things like, listen, I can go on and forth on what's not working, the poor infrastructure and so much more. Things are not working, entrepreneurship is getting hard for people on the ground, people are struggling, businesses are closing, people can't stay afloat because of the country that they're in. And so it's like, what are we doing? It's like, now, if someone like that looks at going abroad, would you blame them? Honestly, would you blame someone? Is it selfish? Is it selfish for someone to do something like that? Or should people sacrifice their potential success for the greater good of the country? That's the question I ask myself, and that's the question I want you to ask yourself as you comment in the comment section. Is it selfish, or does the government actually owe people something? Does the government actually need to give back to its citizens and need to tell the people, okay, if you stay, we're gonna get better? Or speaking of functioning systems, let's talk about the power situation. I'm not one to complain, but I'm touched today. Let me say something. I did my setup. I was meant to shoot at 7. I came in at 6. I came in at 5:40 something. Did my makeup, did the setup, thinking I'm going to shoot, and it's right now. I hope this can be zoomed. It's now 9:10, and it's when I'm shooting. I could be doing my Bible study right now, but because of the power situation, I have to catch up with the other guys. So it's things like that rub me the wrong way, because now I'm thinking, maybe if I was in a different country that had stable power, then that would be a bit different. Okay, that's my little rant for today. I'll leave the rest for next time. I want you guys to watch this clip and let me know.
Even start telling people, don't move abroad. Make sure that you are in your village, like your own hometown. That is when you can freely have the right to tell people, oh, go back to your home country, don't move abroad. Okay, so it's the same thing. You left your village to move to a bigger city, and somebody else left their country to move to a better country where they have a better life for themselves. It's actually the same thing. There's no difference. We all know those who are responsible for developing our countries. Honestly, we know that our leaders are responsible. So channel that.
I liked what she said right there. She said we have to hold our leaders responsible. As we hold our leaders responsible, can we hold ourselves responsible? I get tired having said, oh, the government is the government. That was like, the people are the government. You are the government if you're watching this. To my knowledge, to my social studies knowledge, SST, they told us that the government, we are the government. And if we can't take care of the resources that are given to us, the infrastructure that is built for us, then what are we doing? You know, what's the point? Honestly, like, fine, the government is there. It's meant to do something. It's trying to do something. But what are you doing as an individual? You're littering. You are a horrible driver. Like, this is Fast and Furious. You are a nuisance to society. You destroy public property. You don't obey. I could go on and forth. So as we hold the leaders accountable, let's hold ourselves accountable. There's somewhere in Proverbs where God doesn't like the double standards. If you're holding the leaders accountable, hold yourself accountable too. Because I'm just so tired saying, oh yeah, we complain about the roads. They give us a good road. Fine. You're littering the roads. You're blocking the drainage system. You're pouring things on I'm just like, what's the point? Do we even need a road? No. Do we? It gets tiring, honestly. It really does. So, shout out to her. Let's hold the proper people accountable so that they can have a functioning system and infrastructure so that people can stay here. But let's also hold ourselves accountable so that we can live in a functioning system and with good infrastructure. Now, I could go on and forth. I feel like this is such a broad topic, but I decided to concentrate on a few things. But here's a solution that I think we should all listen to, on top of being held accountable for what it is that you do.
Go abroad, and once they get there, they develop the thinking, the world image of the West. Whereas Indians, the Chinese, the Japanese, they will go to those foreign countries, study, but their culture does not change. They still remain themselves. Many Africans, you know, when you go to the States, you come back and your accent hasn't changed.
Yeah.
We laugh at you. What were you doing in the States? You know that. So it is a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And we need to change the narrative of.
So guys, there you have it. This clip was from Maaya. Shout out to him. A great inspiration to, I think, every young person out there, young African, and so many other people on the internet. So shout out to him. I don't think I need to say more. That isn't the solution to the staying in your African country or leaving your African country. But should you have the opportunity to leave, then I hope that you don't change yourself to fit in with the Western culture. I hope that you preserve your culture wherever it is that you are, and then you come back. Please brain gain over here, and you come back and build your African continent. I know sometimes it can be very discouraging, you know, it can be very demoralizing, you know, when you say, but what am I coming back to? Am I coming back to the poor roads, or am I coming back to the poor systems? You know, getting one thing done, you know, is taking a while longer. You must know someone who knows someone to do something. I know that can be discouraging, but I hope at the root of everything that you do is purpose that is bigger than who you are, because at the end of the day, we are stewards in what we do. You know, we don't just live for ourselves, you know. So yeah, in your walk, wherever it is that you are, I hope that you gain the purpose to come back to the continent. And with that, I sign out. Thank you so much for sticking with me. And if you've stayed for this long, please drop a number 1. And if you like to see more of these videos, let me know. If you don't, we can move on to something else, friend. Like, let's help each other. And you can also help me out by subscribing. I'm on the road to 5K. Should I say 5K or 10K? I think I say 5K. No, else let me dream big, because I have a big God. I'm on the road to 10K, so please do subscribe. I would appreciate it. Hit the bell, do all the nice things, give this a thumbs up. And I'm wearing Uganda Looks Good on Me. This is my merch. It's made with love of my other baby, which is Maaya Consultancy. A lot more is coming over there. If you do want to book a one-on-one consultation, please reach out to me. My book me link is in the description down below. We can talk all things Uganda, what you'd like to do, how you can move forward. It can be business, it can be leisure, it can be whatever it is that you want to do. As long as you send me an email and let me know what you want, then I see if that's something I can help you with, my personal contact, and so much more. I mean, there's so much more that you can get from Maaya Consultancy. With that, I sign out. I'll see you next time. Bye.